The first time I tried to load this horse, he violently refused. He got his head in just fine, followed me right in. Then he got his front feet in and it was no problem. And then when it came time to lift that hind end quietly and easily, the stress factor set in and he couldn't do it. And instead he just sat back and dragged me halfway across the yard, and from then on it was just pretty much, no matter how much sweet talking I did and tugging and please, nothing was going to work. So I sent my little friend in the pink shirt back for my handy dandy stop whip, and I was just about getting ready to just go ahead and load him onto the trailer and teach him to get on, and I thought of my internet friends and I thought, hey, here's my chance. I've got the 2-horse trailer here that people who seem to be having so many problems with. This is my chance to go ahead and show them that the signals that I teach my horses work for a 2-horse trailer too. I've done a lot of groundwork with this horse. Groundwork was one of the things that was my homework with this horse for my horse owner. He had her a little bit intimidated on the ground, so I did a bunch of work with him so that she would have some signals to control him a little bit easier, and those signals are exactly the same signals that I use to teach a horse to come onto the trailer nicely. So we're going to go ahead and go over those signals one more time. Just move when I tell you to, move every part of you when I tell you to. Most importantly, come forward when I put my hand out to my side. Now the actual loading part, I'm going to break up into 3 different parts. First, I'm going to teach him to quietly walk onto the trailer. And that I'm going to break up into 3 parts. I'm going to teach him to get his head into the trailer, and he's going to be a good boy when he gets his head into the trailer. And then when he gets his front feet onto the trailer, he's still a good boy. And this particular horse didn't have a problem with either one of those. He knew how to load. He just also knew that he could refuse. Getting the hind end onto the trailer is always the hardest part because the stress level comes up, and if you know my little video about what happens when the stress level comes up and the hind end comes into play, you'll know that it's going to be really hard for him to unlock that hind end to lift it up into the trailer. So that is going to be the hardest part, which is exactly the part that he refused on. So for this particular horse, we're going to go skip right past get the head on the trailer and then get the front feet on the trailer, because that's a non-issue for him. We're going to have to spend time on get your hind end on the trailer. There, he's got 4 feet on the trailer. Now I could just go ahead and slam the door on him and run for the front of the truck and turn around and go on and get where I'm going. Or I could take the time and teach him to quietly walk onto the trailer. It's just part 1. He still needs to accept the trailer as a good place, or at least a non-threatening place to be. And he still needs to learn to quietly stand while I secure him in the trailer. Those are part 2 and part 3. So now I'm going to spend some time just teaching part 1, which means I'm not going to worry about what he's going to do inside that trailer. He's just going to go ahead and push right back over the top of me and come right back out. Okay, that's fine, as long as he goes back onto the trailer quietly. So while at first I let him go ahead and push back over the top of me or flee back out of the trailer, as he gets quieter about stepping onto the trailer, I take more control of making him come off of it too. And as I take more control of him coming off the trailer, being inside the trailer is becoming less and less of a problem. Now notice how easily he steps onto the trailer this time. Now is the time to start dealing with the fact that he's going to stay on the trailer voluntarily for a while. I pet him, I let him take a look around, I let him just settle for a moment, and then I make him come off the trailer again. Now I have this phantom horse trainer that works for me. He comes to work at 8:30 at night, and he's done working at 8:30 in the morning. And I don't know who he is, and I don't know where he's from, but he does a lot of work on my horses at night. And at 8:30 in the morning when I get to work, they're usually a lot better to deal with than they were the day before. So I could spend another 30 minutes teaching this horse to get on and off the trailer and to tie him in and to let him off and to tie him in to let him off. But I think I'll just let my Phantom horse trainer work for me in the middle of the night. And I'm going to bet that the next time that we load him on the trailer, after he's had some time to think about it, it's going to be a lot easier and a lot better. Now ideally, I'd like to see him load onto that trailer with just a hand motion of mine, with lifting the hand out to the side, which is that signal for coming forward. But I tried here once and he's not going to go ahead and go for it. Now this one here is him just straight up testing my authority. And I'm just not going to let him get away with it. I'm also not going to let it raise my stress level. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. You're just going to get on the trailer and you're not going to rattle my cage. Now this horse has a pretty solid history of setting back and hauling back against that halter rope. And while I did work on that quite a bit, and I think I have it solved, loading him on the trailer is probably not the time to test that issue. It is never a good idea to go ahead and tie up the horse when all he has to do is go back 6 inches to get his hind feet underneath the trailer. If he was to haul back and be tied securely and then get his hind feet outside of the trailer and underneath it, he could hurt himself very, very badly. So it's always best to go ahead and leave the horse loose and then close the doors on him so that he can't get out, and then to secure his head so that he can't get it turned around. Because even as big as this horse is, he's still going to try to turn around and get himself sideways inside that little partition that's inside that trailer. A couple more pieces of advice. When you are trying to load your horse for the first time, position the trailer so that it's next to a corral fence or next to a barn wall, so that one avenue of escape is locked off to your horse. It'll be just a little bit easier to deal with the shenanigans that your horse will probably give you. Position the trailer so that the wall is on the right side of the trailer, so that your horse is between you and the wall as you handle your horse. Now, when you are trying to load your horse for the first time or for the 15th time and you're bound and determined to make it a success, it is good to have help. It's all fine and dandy to go ahead and think that you're going to be able to do this by yourself, but the fact of the matter is that your horse is bigger than you. I'm a very big woman, and things that scare most women don't scare me. So when my horse gives me trouble, I just don't intimidate as easily as most women do. Be sure that the person you choose to help you watches these videos with you so that you guys are both on the same page about when to give the pressure and when to give the release. But please do have some help so that you are not stretched out quite so far. Your horse is much bigger than you. Have some help.